We're back at it again with another Plastic Confessions of a Collector. So sit back, relax, and get loose. Welcome, Toy Fam, to another episode of Plastic Confessions of a Collector. And today's topic, we're going to be taking a dive into the art of the Purge. And I couldn't think of anyone else better than this collector. I've seen it firsthand. The Purge, no hesitation, no regrets. Well, maybe. We'll find out. Let's give it up for the one, the only. Yaboysgottoys. Welcome back. Oh, you're on mute, my friend.
No, I was just talking really quietly.
Oh, with the whisper, the whisper of the Purge. It's good to have you. Thank you for taking the time to come back to the figure booth.
Yeah, I appreciate you giving me another opportunity to put my foot in my mouth and try to talk people out of collecting.
I was like, the art of the Purge, who could I bring that? I'm like, there's only one person I've seen that can purge so easily without, yeah, I mean, hello, you guys, be the judges. Let us know below. You can always see he is the expert of purging. Those shelves were full at one point, right? Like you were bursting at the seams of figures.
Absolutely. I've become the Marie Kondo of getting rid of your collection.
Well, to get you loosened up, give me a 10-second version of your collection right now.
Of my collection right now? Well, I'm looking at it, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 boxes of figures that are all neatly stacked in the corner of the room. 2, 3 display shelves that are off camera that are completely empty. And I tried to push everything that I have not packed into the shot that you see behind me of these 4 empty shelves as well. But it's not because I packed everything up to sell and purge. It's because we are moving. So it looks even better to talk about purging because all my collection is packed up.
So in the move, or even prior to the move, what was the one figure you were messing with the most?
I mean, it's got to be Mayfec's Captain America or the Mess Toys Superior Spider-Man, Superior Neighbor.
Oh, that Mess Toys. Yeah, that Mess Toys keeps coming back. And
right up there.
There he is, yeah. Man, he's crawling back on my list. He's been on my list. Last time we had a conversation, Agent Variant George, he was just really pushing that figure on me, and here you are again. So I think Mess Toys is I'm gonna have to eventually just click to buy. You know, it's in the cart. It's just I haven't done the final commitment.
It's a great figure, honestly. Like and Machi Toy, Toy Daddies, and Between Two Sentinels, they did like a mid-year draft of their favorite figures so far this year, and Machu had Superior Neighbor in his ranking, and he got my vote because of that. So.
Yeah, I saw the draft, and there was a couple I was like, yes, I got them, and then others where I was like, ooh, I don't have that in my on my shelves. I'm gonna have to go and get it. So, but like, I know you are a huge fan of Origin Story. Huge, like you talk about this all the time. You love Origin Stories. So, talking about your first spark, what originally pulled you into collecting?
Pulled me into collecting. I had a little bit. I had just finished my undergrad in college, and I was working, but I had enough money to like live and have a little bit of fun stuff, but not enough money to not still spend a lot of time at my place. So I had an unopened on-card DC Universe Classics Batman figure that I would show because I still have it, but it's packed away right now. And it was on card, and I was looking at it hanging on my wall, and I was like, I wonder if it would change the value if I like opened it and messed around with it a little bit. And this is like 10 years ago now. And I looked up a review for it and like prices for that figure specifically, and whether it was on card or loose, it was worth about the same thing. And at the time, you know, when you're like starting to collect anything, you're kind of concerned about the value of what it is you're collecting. Yeah. So, or, you know, what you consider valuable changes, like whether it's like monetary value or emotional value or time sunk value. So I was considered about monetary value, and it didn't really change whether it was open or not. So I opened that bad boy up, and
There you go.
I was just playing with it like in the evening, just posing it
Yeah.
around and stuff. And if you've played with a DC Universe Classics figure, you know there's not a ton of posability, but it was
Yeah.
enough to get me like interested in getting more. And then from there, I was like, Batman needs someone to fight, right? Like he can't just shadow box around my room. So maybe we should look into getting another figure.
Oh,
And
so you could say you were justifying your future purchases.
that's right. I was justifying all caps hashtagging, getting more figures for the collection.
Nice, nice. So how would you describe your collector identity today from that point now to now?
Badass, really. No, I would say, like in the beginning, I was just getting anything I could get my hands on. There's plenty of like videos online from Dan Larson to Robo to the Figure Booth, the early Figure Booth videos with the OG hosts, where you talk about like the phases that you go through in collecting and how you just want to get everything you get your hands on, and then you just want to build a specific display, or you want to collect everything made from this one company or complete a full line of something. So I would say these days it's a little bit of both. I'm out to get like a perfect Avengers display. I'm out to collect all of the Street Fighter II roster from Jada Toys. I'm out to get a full team from like my favorite anime right now, like Jujutsu Kaisen. So I'm just going for, I did watch the Agent Variant episode, and he has no rules. You talked about how like he's the wild west. If he sees it, and then he just shoots it and adds it to the collection. But I pass on a lot of stuff these days, and I really want to be able to play with it. Like if it doesn't move that well, McFarlane, then I'm not interested in adding it to my collection. I don't want statues. I don't want things that just sit there and look cool. I want to be able to spend time like posing it around and, doing something cool with it, right? Like, so that's where I'm at. I want to play with it. I want to have fun. The whole point of this is to have fun, to be a respite from the shitty stress of your normal life. And if I can't do that, then I don't want to add it to the collection.
And that's great, because I think sometimes a lot of us, we fall into certain pitfalls where we don't really recognize what drives our collection. So it sounds like that playability is like crucial to your collecting, whether it's completing teams. Is there any like specific companies that really like has got their hooks into you when it comes to like the taste of your collection?
Yeah, I really am liking
or do you have no loyalty to any one company?
I really like what InArt's doing with their Dark Knight stuff. These figures are a lot of fun. They move really well. I've got this Catwoman. I already have the Dark Knight figure that they released. So as far as new stuff coming out, I'm really liking what InArt's doing. Mafex, I've always been like a Mafex stan, even in their like shitty QC era. They've gotten a lot better at QC, but they've gotten a lot worse at releasing figures and not worrying about the stuff that is being KO'd by CT Toys and all that. So they have their own issues, but I have 3 Mafex figures on the way. I have 3 Mafex figures that I got in the last month. So I'm still on board with them. I would say like Marvel Legends is the one that's losing me the most. And my collection is made up of like a large chunk of Marvel Legends, but they're just rising costs of living, rising costs of collecting. They're just squeezing themselves out of my collection more and more these days.
Yeah, do you see yourself getting less? Because I'm almost in the same boat where even though I really have liked some of the reveals, specifically with certain characters where I'm like, okay, that's cool. I skipped out on that other version, the previous version. Now I can get this one. But overall, I'm not that one collector where they would do their live stream or they would show all the reveals and I would feel like, oh, I need to have them all. Because I'm at a point where I'm like, there's very small limited space or characters that I need to complete my line. And there's so many other companies doing it better for almost the same cost, if not a little bit more, where I can justify, be like, hey, instead of spending $30 on one Marvel Legend, I could pass on that and take that 30 to buy like a 80 or $90, whether it's in art or Noda figure. Some of these other companies have really been getting my attention. Is that where you kind of see yourself too, where that's why you're kind of cutting back on the Marvel Legends?
Absolutely, absolutely. I certainly find myself these days more often saying, I don't need that wave at all, then I need that whole wave. Because like you
Yeah.
said, back in the day, we say back in the day, but I'm talking
Yeah.
as early as like 2019, 2020. They would do a reveal or a live stream, and I'd be like, wow, I want everything in that wave. And now
Yeah.
I'm like, I just need a Robbie Reyes for my Ramen Racer, and then I'm good to go. I don't need anything else from
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Uh,
That
so
No, and that's exactly it. They revealed that new Doctor Doom from Secret Wars, and I was like, perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. I skipped on the other one because I didn't want the second figure, and I wanted him to come with that like deco on his chest, like everything they did, the packaging. That I was like, perfect. I'm just gonna wait for that one, and I'll pick up that one. Like I don't need to stress about. So I almost feel like with certain lines, specifically like Legends or even Joe's or just Hasbro overall, because they're pumping out so much, you can kind of sit and play the long game because they'll either end up on crazy ridiculous sales, or Walmart sometimes will get brand new stuff and then you go down the street to another Walmart and they have them on clearance for some like crazy prices, or they end up at discount stores, right? So I almost feel like I don't need to pull the trigger as soon as that pre-order drops, even when it comes to certain exclusives, because they sit there for some time, or they'll redo it in a different deco or an alternative team. Because I mean, let's be real. There's only so many characters that they can do that they haven't done already. Like how many
yeah,
more Wolverines or Spider-Mans or Captain Americas can we get?
a million, I'm sure. But
Yeah,
I agree. That's, I think, talking about the purge of the collection, or not even just getting rid of what you have, but just slowing down your intake.
yeah,
Patience is a huge, reliable virtue, because regardless of the manufacturer or the brand, like you said with that Doom, if you didn't get that 2-pack because you didn't want the classic Captain Marvel, then all you had to do is be patient, and now you get the Secret Wars one.
yeah,
And it's going to be on sale, I'm guessing, at some point. But even the original 2-pack is at a pretty low price now. You can find it at discount stores. But it's not just a Marvel Legends thing. I mentioned I have 3 Mafex figures on the way. 2 of them are AOA. I have
yeah.
AOA Age of Apocalypse Cyclops and Age of Apocalypse Weapon X. And I waited because those have been out for a couple months, and I was able to get them for $50 each on Hobby Search.
Wow.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and I'm starting to see a lot of collectors too, like just across social media, where they're praising certain companies. Like Mondo is getting a lot of praise from a lot of collectors, where they're like, man, this is like the ideal. Might not be the ideal size or scale for your collection, but because it unlocks that childhood core memory, you're like, I'm good. I'm just gonna enjoy this figure, and then just either sell and purge off the collection, or just slow down and really enjoy this one figure. I feel like a lot of us, we don't take the time to enjoy that first purchase because we're looking for that next haul, because I need to do another unboxing, or I need to share my next post. And I've had this figure for a week, so technically it's old.
yeah, yeah. You're constantly chasing that dopamine hit of like something new rather than like something you really enjoy, and it loses that sheen really quickly if that's the sole purpose that you got it, was just because it's something new to open, or just something new that you have.
Yeah.
And I try really hard to not have that drive when I'm adding stuff to my collection. But
Okay.
it's served me really well. And I do admit the third Mafex figure is Iceman, and I wasn't going to wait for that to go on sale. So I did pay full price for the Iceman from
Yeah.
Hobby Search, but
Yeah.
I was patient with the other 2 things. So it's not. I'm not
Sometimes you
recommending
follow the
having to
rules,
wait for
sometimes you
everything.
don't.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes you fall on the
So,
sword.
So when it comes to your collection, what's your display philosophy? Do you have any shelf rules? Like what earns a spot on your shelf versus what gets like into the storage bin?
Oh, that's another aspect of keeping the collection tight and alive. Is my my slogan is, if you cannot display it, then you must away it. So I don't have storage. I mean, I have storage right now because
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
moving.
yeah.
I don't have, in a fully expanded collection room, there is no action
No
figures in
bins.
They are all
Nice.
in my original. I have a display of some of my original toys, like some 5-inch Toy Biz stuff, because I grew up for the most part as an only child for like the first 12 years of my life. So I've been playing with toys since I was a kid, and I still
Hmm.
have some of those. I have the original casual Wolverine with the straight arms and the brown jacket.
Yeah. Yeah.
I still have the original Cable from Toy Biz with the removable piece of his face.
Yeah.
So I have a display for those figures. I have some original Beetleborgs in that display. And some people will keep their retro toys and they'll just keep them packed away for the nostalgia of it. But like I said, it has to be displayed or it cannot stay.
There
And
you go. That's a good slogan.
yeah. It's hard though, because I know a lot of people, a lot of collectors, they have a ton of stuff. Like Robo created a whole second house to keep his collection. And, my colleague, David Evan Smith over at Collecting Justified and in Legends and Liquor for Dan Who Reviews, he has over 3,000 figures. But with David, they are all on display. The only thing he has in a bin is, because he's a very successful customizer and kit basher, he has bins of parts that he's taken from figures,
Yeah.
but every complete figure he has is on display, all 3,000 of them.
Nothing but a pleasure zone is from
Yeah,
the rumors I've heard.
that's actually what they call his apartment. It's just the pleasure zone.
The pleasure zone. Yeah, that makes sense. That I think makes sense. So how do you display? Do you do teams? Do you do characters? Do you do just like
Every single figure has its own cube. No, it's all
one
it's all
cube for you?
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love dynamic displays. I love to see them
This guy.
in action. I love to see them
Yeah.
using accessories, using power effects, blood effects, blast effects, everything.
Yeah.
Flight stands. Shout out to you for giving me a set of Mario stands. Like, I love these stands. If the character can fly in the lore, then it's flying on my shelf. It's the cars, everything. So that's also leads to like why I can't have a bloated collection, because you can't
Yeah.
have 100 figures in a dynamic display without having
Yeah.
a giant shelf or a giant cubby for something like that.
So when you're tackling your displays and you do dynamic, is it okay? It's going to be like a scene out of a comic book or like the show, or are you just going to be like, oh, okay, now Batman's going to fight Wolverine, and then there's going to be a Sentinel? Is it cohesive, or is it just like crazy?
A little bit of both. My X-Men display. X-Men is probably one of the larger sections of my collection, aside from Batman. So
Yeah.
a lot of X-Men stuff. I have the HasLab Sentinel. I have Reavers. So it's usually something where they're in a fight against one of their like comic book enemies. Not
Sure.
necessarily something straight out of a comic where I'm looking at the image and then I'm trying to
Yeah.
recreate it on my shelf, but it could be inspired by something like that. Because the part of the fun of playing with them for me is making an original display out of those figures. So I'm not really trying to recreate anything specific, but I am taking inspiration from something I read as a kid or something that I have on my shelf, my comic book shelf now. And then I'm like, yeah, I think, a good example of that would be not recently, it was like in the mid 2020s. I read the Ghost Rider run. It was like 13 issues. It was a relaunch. And in one of the issues, it's Johnny Blaze, and he's fighting a horde of like necromanced zombies. And he takes a chainsaw and he throws the chainsaw around him with a chain, hellfire chain, and everything's ablaze. And he creates this like tornado. So I have a chainsaw from the Mezco Constantine, and the Mezco Ghost Rider came with a flexible chain. So I made a display where he was swinging around the Mezco chainsaw from Constantine, and I have like some demon-like figures from Loose Collector that he was, and I have flame effects. So I just made a little display like that. One of my shelves, and that was like
that makes sense.
It was a ton of fun, looking at the display for a while, and then I ended up selling that Mezco Ghost Rider in lieu of the new Marvel Legends Classic Ghost Rider. So that was one of my examples of like dynamic.
Yeah, and it sounds like still they're cohesive. Like I was picturing maybe I'm walking in and I'm seeing like Batman, Goku, Spider-Man all like doing some kind of kung fu flying through there. It's like I mean, I have a friend that he's like, this is my one shelf. This is where I practice my posing, but also like he's more of a toy photographer. So it kind of makes sense. Like he wants to have them already pre-posed or just something to inspire him. But I walk in and I'm like, dude, this is gives me anxiety because like why is Batman, Goku, and Spider-Man all in the same cube?
Yeah.
But then he walks into my area and he's like, dude, why are they all just standing shoulder to shoulder? Like, do you need to do something with them? So to me, it's always funny how different collectors have that different perspective, and certain things drive others crazy when, I mean, you can have somebody walk into your room and drop your green goblin and then break your glider. And then it's like awkward.
Yeah. Maybe that glider shouldn't have been so, carelessly placed on the shelf and slippery. Also, don't let people in your collection room. That's on you, I guess.
That's it. That's my new rule.
There's an account on Instagram called Clyndon Toys, like Klyndon, and he does exactly that. It's like he has one big fighting display, and it's all multiverse chaos. It is like Batman versus Terminator, Spider-Man versus Goku, Doom versus something else. And it can be cool to look at just to see what kind of ideas for crossovers that people do. But I'm with you. All of my like dynamic or like fighting displays are usually like in their own lore. Like
they stay with their properties.
Like I mentioned with Ghost Rider and like the Loose Collector Demonic Ladies, like, at least there's a connection like that, Goku and Spider-Man would likely never cross over, or Goku and Batman for that matter. But like Batman and Spider-Man are more likely to cross over because they have before. So something like that rather than just complete multiverse chaos.
Yeah, for sure. And last year on the display philosophy, last time we had George AJ Berry in here, we talked about dusting. There's a great debate behind dusting, and I saw that you had commented when you dust, it gives you the opportunity to rotate and redo your displays. Is there a ritual behind it? Do you often do that, or do you just wait till the cobwebs build up?
No, I don't really have a routine for it. Sometimes I just want to play with a specific figure, and I'll take like Mayfex Cyborg Superman off the shelf, and I'll just repose him around, and I'll grab the revival suit Superman, and I'll like pose them around into something, and then I'll be like, oh, they're kind of dusty, and then the spot on the shelf where I took them from has little footprints surrounded by dust. So I'll usually take all the figures off. Some of them I'll leave in that pose, and then I'll just wipe the shelf, and then I'll hit them with one of these bad boys. Highly recommend the makeup brush. Very good for dusting figures. There's even a little hair on there. A dog. So hit them with a makeup brush. It doesn't really change their pose much because it's soft. And then wipe the shelf itself with a rag. And then I can either put it up the way it was, or I can do a little redisplay then and there. But I will say that if you're the kind of collector that likes your collection to be complete or like in a state of finished, then it does not condone that, because there's constantly a shelf. Especially, I'm not even in the thousands of figures range. I'm in the hundreds of figures range, and there's still something that always needs to be dusted or always.
Preaching to the choir. Like I do it once a week, like I was telling George, but even that, I'm like, okay, I may have to increase it, because I was doing one shelf, and I think last week I ended up doing like 3 or 4 because I was like, oh, that's still dusty. And and I see it, and I'm like, okay, now I got to move on to the next one, because I can't just have one clean shelf and then know that the other two. I don't know. It's starting to create like an OCD thing. So who knows?
It's
I may need to revisit.
It's like the Golden. I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area, so it's like the Golden Gate Bridge. They start on one end painting it, and by the time they get to the other end, finished, the end that they started in is already like worn and needs to be painted, so they just start over again, and they're just
that's exactly it.
repainting it. And that's exactly how your collection is. Like
Yeah.
you do one corner, and then when you're done, you look to the other side of the room, and there's already like cobwebs and dust on something, and you're like, well,
Yeah.
back at it next time.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just like, all right, now I got something else to do next week. So till next time. But looking at that, and I love how you want to keep. You said you want to keep your collection nice and tight, fresh. So going into that purge mindset, what usually sparks the purge for you? Is it the space? Is it a character? Is it a new reveal that's coming?
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything. Some examples would be like we got X-Men 97 Bishop from Marvel Legends,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And of
Yeah.
course, I had Kentucky Waterfall Bishop from the Sauron wave before that. And I asked myself, do I want the newest version of Bishop? Do I need
Hmm.
two versions of Bishop on my shelf? I still remember where I got Kentucky Waterfall Bishop. I was in Fresno, and I
Yeah.
had seen him on the shelf in a collectible store. He was overpriced, but I had seen him there like multiple times before, and I just asked the guy, I was like, "Hey, that bishop's been up there for a while. Would you take X instead of
$10.
whatever for that?"
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he sold it to me at a discount, and that was my bishop for the longest time. And
Yeah.
then I ended up selling him when X-Men 97 came out because I liked, first of all, I liked the updated blaster that 97 came with because it was more
Yeah.
accurate to the show. And it was a lot cleaner, but I ended up actually selling X-Men 97 Bishop, and now my Bishop is the Mezco version of Bishop,
Oh,
which is a really
look at
cool
you! Wow,
figure. Yeah, it comes with
it
power
is.
effects. He comes with the blasters, two heads. Like he comes with the shawl that he
Yeah.
has. So
Yeah.
great bishop figure, and I just didn't need three bishops, and I can't play with three bishops. Like I said, if I haven't played with it in a while, then I'm like, maybe I should sell it because there's always going to be a collector out there that
Yeah.
will enjoy that figure more than you are right now. If you're not
Yeah.
enjoying it, there's someone else that's like, oh yeah, I want and need that bishop, or I want and need that Batman, or I want and need whatever. So that's what it really comes down to. Is like I haven't played with it for a while. I look at it. Maybe there's another one that's been announced already to replace it, or another good example is the NECA Lawson Turtles with the all red bandanas.
Yeah.
Those were my Ninja Turtles. I love the Mirage era. I love the gritty, like more adult themed stories, the violence.
Yeah.
I love it. And then
Yes.
beat his ass, stab him. And then they announced the Mezco set with all red bandanas, and I have no Mezco Turtles prior. So that was another, I was like, I'm going to sell the NECA set, make a little money, probably like
Yeah.
$120, $130.
Yeah.
And that will go towards the Mezco set, and that'll be an upgrade. It'll be, a nice inhale, exhale for my collection, and I'll have new fun stuff to play with.
You mean you don't want to keep your turtle set, get the Mezco set, then get the Joy Toy set, and then get the Medi set, and we'll have like 4 or 5 sets of turtles? You don't want that?
And then have all of them fight Goku.
Yeah, and then all of them have Fight Goku on your shelf, all on flight stands, and then you dust them once a week. So I mean that's a good criteria. If you haven't played with it in a while, you kind of like give it the X. You could keep all 3 bishops and do like the Spider-Man meme where they're all pointing at each other. I'm from the future. They're all saying that. I'm from the future.
From the
Or
future.
this is for the future. Yeah. That's good criteria because I think some of us, we have no criteria and we end up with like 10 different Wolverines. Or like myself, I have like 3 shelves of just a bunch of Spider-Man where I'm like, do I really need to have that many Spider-Man? Like, I probably don't. I could probably start selling a bunch of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a Wolverine shelf, and I ended up deciding that I didn't need a Wolverine shelf.
Yeah.
I decided to keep Brown Suit Wolverine from Mafex and the Tiger Stripe from Mafex, and I'm going to be honest, if and when Marvel Legends announces a Team X Wolverine, when he's in his like black and gold, like special ops,
Oh, yeah.
I'm definitely getting that Wolverine. Like,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, but that's still a Wolverine that I can add to the collection. But I don't need like what was some first appearance Wolverine from the Hulk 2 pack. Like I don't need first appearance Wolverine. It was a great figure. for the time, but I didn't absolutely need it, and I never really played with it. It was just
Yeah.
there. First appearance Wolverine. So I got rid of that, and there was some other ones that I can't even remember now, but it was just like all kinds of like Wolverines that I never played with, and I was like, somebody wants this Wolverine, somebody out there,
Yeah,
and they
for
did
sure.
because I liked it. So
And then, I think the other part that some of us struggle with is that emotional weight. It's hard for us to let go because of sentimental value. Is there a figure that you purely keep just for like sentimental value?
uh, my mother-in-law got me the Black Knight and Cersei 2-pack from
Oh,
Marvel Legends a few
yeah,
Christmases ago. Um, I'm not ashamed to ask people for figures, like for
yeah,
gift giving occasions.
yeah.
And my in-laws are the kind of
Wait, why
people,
would you be ashamed?
some
There's
people are
people
like
that are ashamed.
embarrassed about collecting action figures, and they're like, I'm not going to tell them to get me anything because it's going to be something I don't want, or
Uh-huh.
I already have everything I want, so I'm not going to wait for someone to give it to me as a gift. I'm the kind of person who's like, hey, if you're asking me for
Hey,
something specific, I'm gonna give you a link. I'm gonna give you every detail about
yeah,
it, and if you don't give me that, that's on you. Um,
yeah,
but
for sure.
my in-laws, their love language is gift giving, right? So
Yeah,
if I don't
yeah,
tell them specific things, because there's been times where I'm like, you don't have to get me so much stuff. Like I
yeah,
just need 2 or 3 gifts. I mean, I don't even need 2 or 3 gifts. Like if
yeah,
you want
yeah.
to shoot me a gift, that's absolutely
Or no
fine.
gifts, or no
Yeah,
gifts.
yeah, or no gifts. But the response I'll get is like, okay, and then they'll just give me a
Yeah,
bunch of crap.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, for sure.
so I have to specify things,
Yeah,
otherwise I'm going to get a bunch of stuff that I just don't want.
yeah.
So
All
I
turtles.
asked for, I mean, if I asked for the Mezco Turtle set, they would do it, but that's just because
All hot toys. You're getting hot toys. You collect figures, right? This is.
you're getting hot toys. Yeah. The Wolverine pool, Hot Toys Wolverine pool. You get
Yeah.
into it.
So like we saw this at the local flea market. Look, it has Spider-Man, Goku, Batman, and Wolverine with a cape. You're like, what?
Wolverine with a cape. Yeah. Uh, so she got me that 2-pack, and those
Yeah.
figures suck. They're absolute trash. They're like so outdated. They have pins. The Black Knight sculpt is doggy. It's
Yeah.
just they're not good figures, but I still have them because
Yeah.
it was a gift for Christmas
Yeah.
for my in-laws. So they're in my Avengers display, and maybe if we get a Black Knight down the road, which I highly doubt,
Yeah.
then I'll replace them then. But as of now, it's a couple figures that are not great objectively, but they
Yeah.
still in my collection
They,
because
they hang in there.
I respect the way that I got them.
Now I've seen you do the purge. Like you don't even bat your eye twice. It's just like you're doing deals. I've seen you do deals. And is there any figure that has taken you like a long time to let go, where you're like either debating to throw them up for sale, or you just couldn't come to terms to letting them go?
I'm kind of struggling with the Snyderverse Ben Affleck Batman from Mathex.
Okay. Okay.
You talked about having a shelf of like all one hero, like you have a lot of
Yeah.
Spider-Man figures. I just talked about having a whole shelf of Wolverine stuff. And Batman is one of those characters for me. So I have several Batman figures, and the Snyderverse Affleck Batman is one of those that I have it up for sale, but I'm on the fence. Like if it
Yeah.
hasn't sold, and I'm like, good. Like under my breath, I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, don't sell. Other than that, stuff that I've sold and actually regretted, I wish I didn't get rid of my shield. I had a whole shield
Oh,
display,
yeah.
and I kind of wish I didn't get rid of them. I had like Sharon, I had Fury, I had the army builder agents of female and male. Like I had a pretty solid. I think the only thing I was missing was like Mandroid, the Mandroid Build-A-Figures.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Aren't even great, but I think those were the only things I was missing, and I ended up purging all of the shield stuff. Luckily, that Nick Fury and Punisher 2-pack came out, so I was able to replace my Nick Fury. Oops.
Yeah.
Sorry, my security is going off.
Oh, it's a security alarm. Amazon has just arrived. And we let you know, if you're enjoying this, make sure you hit the like button. Let us know what's your favorite part. Drop down your comments, and don't forget to share.
Yeah, so luckily I got the Nick Fury replaced, and I was able to find a Dum Dum Dugan loose,
Yeah.
just like in a comic shop that somebody had. It was literally in a plastic bag in a bin, and it was like $10 or something. And I was like, this is my sign to rebuild that shield display. But that leads me to another point is, and this goes back to the being patient thing.
Yeah.
Like, there's always going to be a replacement to whatever it is that you're missing or that you miss. Another example of that is Brown Suit Wolverine from Mafex. I don't know if you remember, but when that Brown Suit Wolverine first came out, it was highly sought after. It was so
Crazy.
expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got it on the original release, and then I needed money because I was in grad school at the time.
Yeah.
My funding had been cut, so that was also part of my first big purge. Is that you're either going to pay for school with some of this money or all of this money, or you're
Yeah.
just going to keep this collection, and this is what you're going to do instead of finishing grad school. So
Yeah.
I sold like the NECA Turtle Van, the NECA Toon Turtle set. I had all kinds of stuff, but I ended up making around like $3,000, and
Yeah.
all of that went to like school stuff, to things in life related to school because I couldn't work. And Brown Suit Wolverine from Mafex was one of those figures that I was like, I really don't want to sell this. It's like my favorite Wolverine figure, but it was going for like $300 on the aftermarket at the time.
Yeah.
And I sold it for, I think I sold it for like $250 because I wasn't trying to
Yeah.
be too scalpy, but it was still market value.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, a year later, they reissued Brown Suit Wolverine. So I got him back for like $75 on, Hobby Search or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's just, my point is, like, there's always going to be another figure of that character. There's always going to be another Nick Fury, even the white Nick Fury. There's always going to be another Brown Suit Wolverine. There's going to be another Mafex Psylocke. Like, even Fin Fang Foom, like, there's exceptions to every rule. And you look at older Toy Biz Build-A-Figure, like Galactus, people were like, oh, Toy Biz Galactus is the only Galactus we're ever going to get. And then we got the HasLab. And even HasLab, you get HasLab Sentinel, and then we got the X-Men 97 Sentinels. So there's always going to be another version or a better version or, another opportunity for you to get that figure that you're looking for. And I think Fin Fang Foom is something that could be on the horizon. Like, there's a lot of
I think so. And especially nowadays, like, there's so many independent companies, there's so many like collectors that are starting their own toy lines, there's Kickstarters, like it's almost the golden time to be a collector because there's so much so readily available, and you can pick up and start up a brand new line, Legends line, and it could surpass what we thought used to be Legends core collection, like even just from 3-4 years ago, because of the new advances we've made with like the digital face sculpts, the pinless. Like, it's just crazy how a collector can be in it just as of a couple months, and they can already like surpass someone who's been collecting maybe for years, where you're like, fuck, how long have you been collecting? And it's been only like a set of months, So it's really that going back again, just to patience, just waiting it. A lot of it is like perfect timing. You can pick up a full collection on someone that's about to get out of the game, and they're like, okay, I'm done. And sometimes, like, we get lucky and you pick up a lot of good figures. Has there been any one figure that the minute you let it go, you're like, thank goodness? You felt lighter?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
I mean, I know you had a lot of Toddy Max that you were just aching to.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a figure, like when I sold most of my McFarlane stuff, I was supporting McFarlane from his first wave. Like, I got all the figures from his first wave.
Yeah.
And I even dabbled like into his second and third waves. But from there, like, I would only pick up 1 or 2 figures. And when I sold almost everything, it did feel like I was getting rid of something that I just really didn't want or need in my collection. And
I gotta tell you, when you sold that Kickstarter for me, my Kickstarter figure, I was like, finally, I got that kink out of my neck. I felt a little bit, I had a little bit of a pep in my step.
That's how I felt when I sold my Kickstarter Spawn, because I was so disappointed in that Spawn when it came out. It was just not what Toddy was purporting to deliver us. And I genuinely like upset when I actually got it. So when I sold it, I was like very happy, and I'm glad that I could pass on some of that happiness to you as well. Actually,
Yeah. No, when you let me know, you're like, hey, it's sold. I was like, yes. I was like, great. Now I can go buy something much cooler. That I don't know. I thought I was gonna feel like the coolest kid on the block. Then I got it, and I was like, not the coolest kid on the block.
yeah,
So
that's a great example of not wanting a statue in your collection.
yeah, it definitely felt like I don't know. So like I got like tricked there because I was like, what? I don't like this pre-post stuff. But
Yeah.
that kind of leads me into like now like impulse buys. That has there been one impulse buy that you're like just kind of shocked that you got sucked into it, whether it's a line or a figure?
Uh, no, I'm usually really good about not doing impulse buy stuff. Um, I I'll think about like what I'm gonna do with it. If I see it, first of all, I don't do toy hunts. I'm not a good
Okay.
hunter. I'm a gatherer. Okay, I gather pre-orders. I
Yeah.
don't hunt in the wild. I've never been able to successfully like nail down something that I was looking for. I've never been like, all right, I have the tingle. I'm going to Ross,
Yeah.
and then, there it is.
Hey, the
It
tingle works sometimes.
it just doesn't happen for me. I plan to pay for something on a pre-order. I wait for the window. Like I'm a gatherer.
Very
So
methodical, huh?
yeah. So rarely do I come across something where it is an impulse, where
Okay.
my impulse trigger is being like tingled, because I just don't really go out in person. So it's a lot easier for me to say no to stuff because it's not just right in front of me and it's not like
Mm.
discounted or something like that.
I gotta say, you had a lot of restraint, even walking around. I mean, it's not the ideal example, but when we walked around Frankensons, I a lot of first time collectors like they're just gonna go crazy because it's like, oh my god, there's figures everywhere, and then but then you start seeing some of those prices, and you get that sticker shock,
Yeah.
But usually people walk out with like at least like a bag, a small bag, or maybe even sometimes two bags of stuff. Where I mean, it was you and I, and amongst other collectors, you don't get caught up in that like, oh, he's buying something, they're buying, like I gotta buy something too.
Yeah. Yeah. I
You don't fall
remember
into that?
so that was like the Toy Migos meetup last year.
Yeah,
Um, And I did end up getting two Jada Toy Street Fighter figures, but it was two that I was looking for.
yeah, yeah,
And then, like, when we used to live in LA, we would go to Frankenstein like every other weekend or at least once a
yeah,
month, because you can find a lot of stuff there. But I've been burned by stuff like that before. Like, I've gotten stuff from Frankenstein's where I opened it and then it was actually broken. And then on the
yeah.
box it would say like open box. And that was how I learned that an open box sticker usually means broken or like bad quality.
Yeah.
Uh, and that Frankenstein's is actually where I got my first Marvel Legends Rogue, and it was the Juggernaut wave Rogue when
Oh
she was
yeah,
the only Rogue available, and I saw
yeah.
her not even on card, like saw her loose in a case, and I was like, Rogue! Oh, like how much is that Rogue figure? And I ended up paying $90 for that figure at the time, and
Wow.
this is
Take that
like
away, folks.
yeah, this is
Lesson
like
learned.
probably like 2020, 2021.
Yeah.
And that was my Rogue all the way until this bad boy came in,
Wow,
because
that is crazy. You didn't pick up all the other
I
rows in
wanted my
between.
money's worth. I spent $90 on that Rogue. So I was like, I'm not getting that retro card
Ooh,
Rogue. I'm not getting any of those other
the
reissues. I
retro
spent
with the hand
$90.
off and the glove. Come on.
Yeah,
Oh, that's such a
I
good
spent $90 on that Rogue.
X97
So
Rogue. Yeah, you got
until
your
this
money's
came
worth for the
out,
Rogue.
yeah, until this came out, I was not
Wow.
getting any other Rogues.
Wow. That is,
So
yeah.
So there's ways to not feel like you got
Yeah.
not fell into that like impulse
Yeah.
thing, because buying Rogue for $90 definitely feels like an impulse buy, but I made sure to stretch that 90 out for years so that it felt like I got it.
For sure. No, and kudos to you because it's hard for when we did show up to the Toy Migos meetup, and there was a lot of hype behind Storm collectibles, the Ryu and the Ken. I already had them on pre-order because I had already seen like I think some firsthand, and just following the hype where their scale was going to be more and true to 112. So it was like I already got it on pre-order, but that was the first time I finally got to meet Diggs Figs and Will Flow. And Diggs is the one that had it in hand. And he was like, yeah, I got the last one. And then it's like this pandemonium went over the group. And then everybody was searching for the freaking Ryu. And I remember I was like, oh, great. Now I have to have this. Like, I got to get it like right now. And it was so cool because we were playing with it. Like right there, we went to go we all went to go eat and stuff. And I think that is what drives a lot of collectors over. Like, I was like, oh, I need to get like 2 Ryus now. Like, I need to have all the Ryus. Even though my pre-order was coming in, I remember I was like, I need this Ryu like ASAP.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And I still have my Ryu. Right?
Oh, that's one of my best figures right there. That Ryu and that Ken. I always mess with them.
I still need the Ken. I should have got it when we saw it that day, and I only got Ryu, and I was like, oh, I can get Ken later. And then even at like Toys in the Box, I haven't seen it anywhere again, which is crazy because they made like 3 different versions of that Ken already. Like at this point, Storm Arena has more figures released of 3 characters than like all of Yaboysgottoys' whole roster of players. So, hopefully I'll come across it, but I'm not out there dying to have it. I have the Jada Ken, so I'm happy with that.
Real collectors know. So for some of the figures in your collection, if you were to have to keep one, sell one, or upgrade one, which figure would that be?
I don't know. Actually, I'm selling the Amazing Yamaguchi Deathstroke 1.5.
There you go.
I'm hoping first of all, I'm hoping that Mattel will give us a Deathstroke in one of their earlier lines. And then I'm even looking at the LPZZ UPF Deathstroke because it's gotten a lot of praise.
I was going to say, yeah, that Deathstroke is, yeah.
I'm going to come break it.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm thinking about the LPZZ UPF, but there's nothing wrong with the Amazing Yamaguchi. It's just it's an earlier Amazing Yamaguchi, and I play with my toys, and it's kind of hard to play with because of the earlier version of articulation on AY.
Yeah. So that one's selling. Yeah. Which one are you upgrading? Which figure would you upgrade in your collection?
Upgrade probably. It's hard to look at everything when they're all in boxes. I would say the Rogue. That Mafex Rogue was the upgrade that I was waiting for. Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Really good. She's probably the best female figure that Mafex has done so far. And it's an absolute upgrade to my Juggernaut Wave Rogue. Legends.
There you go. So and out of all of them, if you had to get rid of all the figures, which one would you keep?
So I actually was doing a mental exercise on whether I could. When I did my second Purge, you and I went to the toy show up in Sacramento, and I think I took 80 figures. I sold 50 of them, and I made like a couple $1,000s. So don't be afraid.
And they still talk about that. They still talk about that guy that came in and was dealing and wheeling. Like, I went just last week. They had another toy show and stuff, and someone's like, "Hey, where's your friend that was like with the crazy deals?" And I was like, "He's a myth. Like, you have to speak his name into existence 3 times and he'll show up." And he's like, "Man, dude, you guys were killing it." I'm like, "You guys, a lot of people. I was just watching them making the deals."
I was literally just wanted to sell the stuff that I brought, so I went there to get rid of stuff, and I did, but it worked out. So that's part of it. That's like not. If you put something up for sale, then you should agree with yourself that it's for sale. Don't put something up that you're unsure about. Once you make the choice, then live with that choice that you've made. Life is about growth and change. So you can't grow without stressing your muscles or clipping some branches once in a while.
Oh, there you go. Some Hallmark card calendar words
Yeah,
from
the
Alexa
heart
here.
is a muscle.
And
Uh,
you were like, you went with that mentality. You showed up with a ton of figures. You were like 80 figures, filled up my whole table. And I was like, okay, well, now I have to use a small table. But you were like you were set with a plan, very intentional. And I think a lot of times some collectors, some of us, we struggle with that. Like, I want to get rid of this. It's stressing me out. But then when we go to sell, it's like, I want $300 for this figure because I know what, it's like we set these unrealistic prices.
yeah. Yeah, obviously I wanted to profit from
Right.
getting rid of some of that stuff, but profit wasn't my top priority. My top priority was getting rid of some stuff. So
Yeah.
I did some analytics, and I don't remember what my discounts were, but I
Yeah,
did.
you were giving some crazy discount. That's all I gotta say. There were some crazy because when I heard, even like my eyes and ears perked up, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And then you had me like perusing in your table, and I was like, I don't have this. Maybe I should get. I already have one of these guys, but maybe if I buy 3, I get the discount."
Yeah.
They were good, man. You made some kids happy too. They're like some of their first figures, and I know like that's what I really liked is that those type of shows, swap meets, your local events, you do get that brand new collector who's looking for their first Mayfix, and he was asking you a bunch of questions where I was really impressed to see such a young collector. I think he was like 12, that he really did know a lot about the Mayfix line, or even like a certain character that he really wanted to collect. So he was asking, and man, I was just like sitting back enjoying that moment.
Yeah, that Mayfix. So that was the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I have the spreadsheet pulled up. I had him listed for $85, and I gave him to that kid for 65, and he paid cash.
Yeah, and he was stoked.
Yeah, he was so excited. And same thing, like you said, he knew his shit. Like he was like, "Oh, that's the new Tobey Mayfix Spider-Man, blah blah." Like, do you have? And he asked me questions about like other Mayfix figures, so he knew what he was looking for. And his mom and dad were there, and she was like, "Yeah, he definitely knows what he's talking about." So that made it easier for me to part ways. And that Mayfix Tobey goes for like 200 plus now on aftermarket. So it felt good to see the kid's face light up, and even though I gave it to him at a discount and a small loss, like I got him for retail, and I got to play with him for a little bit, and then I was like, yeah, I don't think I need Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. But
Hey, that
kid,
future, that Spider-Man, that Marvel Legend, big time Spidey.
Yeah,
That
the big
kid, yeah, the big time letdown Spidey. That kid was super excited too. He was like so pumped that one, he got a good deal right when he went to another vendor, and he was like, "Oh, that's like twice the price," and he came right back to you, and like you made his whole like day. Yeah,
that Spider-Man figure, the Marvel Legends big time letdown Spider-Man, I had it listed for like $20, right? It was just loose, all accessories included, $20 on the table. And like the guy at the table across from us had him for like $60. And then I was like, if you buy some other stuff, I'll give them to you for less than that. So he bought like some of the figures, and I ended up letting go of that Spider-Man for like $16. But anyone who's had that Spider-Man knows it's not even that great of a figure. So $16 for that pinned like old Spider-Man, not signed by Shardimus Prime or anything, like $16 is fine. And they bought more stuff. So
and they bought more stuff.
I was happy to do that.
Yeah. So, like it's really, like you said, making that commitment and separating yourself and making like that detachment where it's like, okay, they're not really, I'm giving these up just so they can either go to a better home. And the show that we're at, it's like thrown by collectors for collectors. So, it's like, it's going to go to another collector's home, and hey, it's either going to be used for fodder or what have you, but I should be able to get my money's worth of, I already got my enjoyment out of it. So, it should be easy. It should be an easy transaction. Sometimes the challenge is when it's those prices are so high that I see sometimes collectors show up, full table, and then they go home with the full table. I'm like, man, that's just like, that's demotivating. That's going to take the wind out of your sales. And and you keep showing up every month. Like, to me, that's just wild. So try not to be one of those collectors.
Yeah. What is that saying? Like, the definition of madness is doing the exact same thing and hoping for a different outcome every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Like you got to change something, and that goes back to life being about growth and change. If you're not getting the result that you want, then change the process, do something to try to get a different outcome. But it's been working, and like I said, there's just always new stuff coming out. Like you said, it's a golden age to be an action figure collector. So if you miss one thing, then don't sweat it too bad. Like you can always go back for it. And if you don't, then something improved or better will come out and you can replace it. Like, Cable, X-Men Cable is another great example of
Yeah.
how many cables we've gotten and how many
Yeah.
different versions. Like if you want blue and yellow cable, you can get that Marvel versus Capcom cable. You can get the Amazing Yamaguchi cable. You've
Yeah.
got X97. You've got X-Force from the earlier Legends. Like there's plenty of cables out there now. There's plenty of Bishops out there now. There's plenty of Saurons out there now.
Yeah.
Like there's just too much for you to worry about letting go
Yeah.
of something that you don't need.
Yeah, for sure. And so you're in the middle of a move. Where do you see your collection going? Like in the next year, how do you kind of play out your displays, your collection, what you'll be collecting? What do you see yourself at?
I am really wanting, and when I get the new collection room set up, um, I think the room itself is going to be a little smaller than this,
Mm-hmm.
but that's fine because I think my collection itself will be a good fit. And sometimes in a big room, you struggle to like make it look full, and then sometimes in
Yeah.
a small room, you struggle to not make it look cramped. So
Yeah.
I'm expecting in the new room to have more background pieces. Like I have Dio pieces and like effects and everything. And the box that I filled up with all my Dio pieces was like a 3 foot long by 2 foot wide by like 1 foot high. So I have plenty of environment enhancements to actually make like a cool display for each of these blank
Nice.
shelves. And that's
Yeah.
that's the direction I'm going in now. I want to have not so much minimal amount of figures, but I want to
Mm-hmm.
have small enough amount of figures to make a neat like display that has action, that has dynamism, and then each figure itself can be enjoyed without just being like in a class photo or like, oh, instead of saying like, oh, you have the whole Street Fighter roster, they can say like, oh, I like what you did with Chun-Li's kicking effect, right?
Yeah.
Like in the Street Fighter roster, like I want to have enough space for Zangief to be able to spread his arms and swing around. I
Yeah.
want to have that iconic look to them rather than just like everyone standing vanilla to show that I have
Hey,
the whole roster, which is
I'm
fine.
showing the roster. I'm showing the roster. I feel
Yeah,
very attacked by that.
yeah,
But I get your point because it's cool. Because as you were saying that, I'm thinking of the Jada Toys E Honda and making sure how cool would it be. I've seen some displays where they use that box art that they come with, and they start building out like the levels, and that effect that E Honda comes with from Jada Toys,
yeah,
the chef's kiss, right? So
yeah.
it's really cool. But still, I got the whole roster. Let me show off my roster.
I think another
It's
good
like a
example
panorama,
is
school class picture. Yeah.
the SH Figure Arts Gamerverse figures, how they come with those big
Yeah.
cardboard backgrounds to
Yeah.
show their like hyper combo effect.
Yeah.
Like not everyone has the space to show that off, but if you do have the space, then it looks really cool.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm excited to see the new setup. I think everyone is too. We're anticipating the countdown days. So I just wanted to thank you for you taking the time, coming on and taking a deeper dive and getting to know your collection and then just your thoughts on the purge. Because I know when I think about I gotta purge some stuff, you're like, I'll help you out.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm always happy to get people to make progress, to move forward. I like to say that I have a living, breathing collection, not in a terrifying way,
Nice.
but
Yeah.
that I'm always, I'm getting new stuff in, I'm letting stuff go, and once you get to a certain point of a collection, you can do it without spending too much of your own money because I can sell stuff that I had, and with the money that I make from selling it, I can buy stuff that I want. And
Yeah.
that's an example of the toy show that we went to. Like,
Yeah.
I walked away with almost $2,000, and I invested that back into the collection.
And I got lunch. I mean, you're like, I got you. We're going to get some in and out. That was awesome.
Yeah.
It was a fun time. Yeah, it was definitely a fun time. So if folks watching this, they want to see more of you, they want to hear more of you for some odd reason, where can they catch you? Where can they get more of Your Boys Got Toys?
You can find me at Yaboysgottoys on Instagram. I'm on 2 channels on YouTube. If you're thinking of starting your own YouTube channel, don't. It's too much work, man. Just get on other people's channels, and it's a lot easier, like I'm doing right now. You can also find me at Just Justin Collects. On Saturdays, we do Collecting Justified, which is another video podcast. There's not enough video podcasts in the toy community. And it's 3 or 4 of us, sometimes up to 5. We talk about different topics. This week, so that'll be, depending on when this airs, Saturday the 14th. It's tonight. So Saturday the 14th, we're going to be wish listing the first 2 waves of Mattel's DC Multiverse line. Well, I don't know if it's called DC Multiverse.
Well, yeah, and then by the time this airs, you had already done that.
Yeah.
So they need to catch you.
Go to Just Justin Collects
and watch them talk about that, and then watch Just Justin justify his whole collection with the gang of these guys.
Yeah,
and it's
Justin's
fun time.
Another guy that has a lot of toys on display, rightfully so.
A lot of childhood trauma we talk about. Where else can they catch you?
You can also find me over at Encountered Culture every Thursday or Friday, sometimes Tuesday, never Wednesday. We do a recap show, and that's for all of the toys, news, and reveals that have happened in the previous week or so. So if you want a news update show, check out Encountered Culture. If you want specific topics like the first 2 waves of DC and how my choices are going to be the best, then check out Just Justin Collects for Collecting Justified.
Awesome. Thanks again, Alexi, for swinging by. And till next time, we'll, as always, guys, collect, pose, and repeat. Peace.